Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel, and I recently watched a video from Claudia over at Spinster's Library where she went over her revenue stats from YouTube for all of 2020, and I thought it was super interesting. I'm a big fan of sharing numbers, especially revolving around like creativity and the ways to make money in a creative field or in a creative capacity whenever possible. So with her as my inspiration, I figured I would make this video. Also, some of y'all seem interested. So yes, I'm going to leave timestamps down below, right around this area, because there are other ways to make money that's kind of spun off of your YouTube channel that are worth noting, because in some cases they make more money than videos do, but they wouldn't exist without the channel, right? I'm talking fundraisers, Patreon, affiliate link things, sorts of things, sponsorships. And I also want to touch on like how this fully goes into an author platform potentially. So if you do want to skip around again, timestamps right here. So without further ado, last year I made $11,237 from YouTube. This is an estimated number, and I think that includes some of the fundraiser money, which I'll talk about in a bit, but around 11,000. I'm at about 38.4 thousand subscribers right now, and it says I gained 8.7 thousand over the course of the year. So I think I started at about 29.7 thousand subscribers. So this is a channel in the authortube booktube community that's at about 30,000 subscribers. Though, like Claudia says, it's not the amount of subscribers you have that matters in terms of like monetary value from YouTube. You are paid based off of the number of views a video gets, how many ads you have placed in the video, or how many ads YouTube places in your video, and what an advertiser is willing to pay to get their ad on your video. So we're gonna get more into those specific numbers. Also, I'm saying that subscribers don't matter. However, a lot of people do use that number to determine things no matter what your view count really is. So you can have a low view count but a high subscriber count, and people are going to be kind of more impressed with that number sometimes, and that can give you opportunities outside of YouTube to make money from your channel, right? So there's some nuance there, but from YouTube specifically, it's based off the views. Now, the interesting thing to me when I was looking at these stats is that the video that brought me the most amount of money in 2020 was actually a video that I'd published in 2019. Was it 2019 or was that early 2020? I can't be right. When was that? What are years? Yeah, it had to be 2019. Yeah, March 24th, 2019. It's my most popular video. I think it actually just surpassed 250,000 views, which is really cool. And that is I tried writing like Stephen King for a day. And I will show you the little diagram of my other top 5 most popular videos in terms of money for me. So YouTube's been rewarding longer videos because it can place more ads within your video without kind of losing the user experience. I think it was even in 2020 that they shortened the threshold for what your video needed to be before you could start running mid-rolls. I think it used to be 10 minutes or 12 minutes, and now it only needs to be 8 minutes for you to put a mid-roll in. And authortube and booktube are kind of interesting communities in the number of ads I see on average in the videos. So there's some like kind of movie commentary channels that have an ad as often as they can place them. Some beauty guru videos, ads as often as you can place them. And then you have like the ASMR community where it's oftentimes no mid-roll ads. Though if any of y'all have been watching YouTube for at least the past year, you'll have seen people of all channels, especially as they rolled out that mid-roll change, kind of complaining about YouTube randomly putting ads into videos and having to go back and manually take them out. So worth noting. So now let's talk about CPM, which is basically cost per thousand of views. And 2020, another interesting thing they did is they now have like a revenue per thousand views thing, which is supposed to help the creator side of things. I think in theory, it also takes into account you know, the chunk that YouTube's taken out of it, but as well as how many people have like ad blockers and stuff too. So you should see your revenue per thousand views. For the entire year, my CPM averaged to be about $11.37, but my RPM was $5.56. These are both up over last year though. And you can see that CPM kind of tends to trend upward as the year goes on, specifically kind of peaking around December time as people are doing a lot of holiday spending. What I've noticed about authortube specifically is that we're kind of low in like the January, February, March months, and then we'll start ramping up with Camp NaNoWriMo specifically. The summer's a hot month, and then of course November's our big one. I've actually talked to a lot of other authortubers, and December, unlike a lot of other communities, is kind of a dip in terms of views. So it's interesting to see that though I had actually more videos in December and the CPM was higher, I actually did not make as much money that month. I think in part just because views were lower. Books and Lala recently made a video where she was talking about her thumbnail experiment, and she said how January and February tend to be lower months for booktube as well. So I thought that was interesting. You can see specifically how my I tried writing like John and Hank Crane of the Vlog Brothers video has a higher CPM but lower views, so it actually ranks higher up, like I got more money from it compared to other videos that had more views on them, that were more popular. And because YouTube is all about the money making, they're rolling out new and different things. I think you can now applaud on some people's videos. You can do like super stickers or super chats in the live streams, which isn't usually a huge thing. You will see on the graph where it was my birthday and I hosted a live stream. And there's a spike there, which is really fun. I also published 113 videos last year, which I had not seen the stats for until this video. That's crazy. So I usually aim to do about 3 videos per week, but that's like right on it. So if I made the 113 videos this year and I made about $11,000, if we assume I spend 4 or 5 hours per video on average, you know, for sit down videos, they don't take me near as long, but for some of the vlogs, I have a bunch of content, so they take longer, and those are the videos I tend to do. This means I'm paying myself more or less like $20 an hour kind of thing. And that's, y'all saw the stats, that 11,000 is up way more than what it was last year. So I just think there's a lot of interesting parallels with writing and publishing books as part of your career and making videos where you're brainstorming the ideas, scripting the video, filming the video, editing the video yourself, and then publishing it. And I want to bring the Stephen King video up again because it wasn't even any of the videos I did this year that made me the most money. Now, of course, some of those videos were only published in like November, so they didn't have as long or as much of a chance to make me money, though the tail tends to kind of be like this, you know? Sometimes some videos just hit. Lots of times there are videos that you think will hit and then they don't. You spend a bunch of time doing these upfront things with no guarantee that they will be success with viewers or readers, or that they will be a monetary success. YouTube videos are also really similar in that as the like views trickle in later, you kind of get residual income. Once you put the book out there, once you put the video out there, it is done. Your role in that is over and you'll just continue to make money from it. I guess you could look at it as passive depending on how much work I know other people do with their books after the fact. It's like, but yeah, there are a few really big hits. You know, there's the hottest books of the year kind of thing, but there's a ton more that are published, not only traditionally, but then a ton more that are self-published or indie published. And they are just going to be collecting like little bits of money here and there. Or maybe they're not collecting any money for a while until that author has a big hit and then people go look at their backlist. Definitely with BookTube, I think there are better examples, but even with an authortube, we're a small community, but there's certainly a lot more authortubers under 500 subscribers than there are that are over 5,000 subscribers, where you might be making a little bit of money throughout the year from your videos. And in order to get to the over 5,000 subscribers and, you know, an equivalent amount of viewers sort of stage with that, you also had the years of, you know, being under 500. And yeah, the point being, few of us are going to be able to make money solely off of our books, and certainly few of us are going to be able to make money solely off of YouTube. Now, part of that is the niche within authortube being quite small and the audience being quite small. I mean, you'd obviously have a better chance if you wanted to be a beauty guru, but even then, it's a triangle. You know, there's a lot fewer at the top and a bunch more kind of scattered at the bottom or in the middle. And as for writers who are publishing books regularly, you can still see tons of examples of them doing multiple things besides just publishing books. I can think of several self-published authors who have podcasts that I would wager are bringing them in more money than their books are selling. I know with the self-publishing show, though, Mark Dawson is making a shit ton of money on his books. You know, he was able to employ someone who hasn't published his first book yet based off of the business that they run about writing. There's people that sell courses, there's people that, you know, do nonfiction books on how to set up an author platform to sort of supplement their fiction income. It's vast. And that's where I want to get into the other ways that I make money that spun off of the YouTube channel, certainly, as I have not published anything under the Kate Kavanaugh brand yet. But before I do that, really quickly, I do want to talk about fundraisers, which I think YouTube has like a subscriber number you have to hit, but I have done, since they allowed me to do that, for my live streams in November and a couple in October, we raised over $500 for NaNoWriMo. That's based off of like the super stickers and super chats people do in chat, and then all of my ad revenue goes to NaNoWriMo during that time. The same is currently true for all my live streams. The ad revenue and the supers are going to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. So that's something that I really enjoy doing. I wish they unlocked that for lower subscriber counts as well. Don't know why. I don't know why. they've decided to do that. I know I reached out to NaNoWriMo to ask them and they had one set up, and they said that their personal YouTube channel did not have enough subscribers yet, even though it was them. Worth noting that you can also raise money with your YouTube channel. So now I want to talk about Amazon affiliate links, which haven't really done much for me, though I do certainly have them. I think I get about $20 a month, which is obviously nothing to sneeze at and helps my coffee addiction. I think the biggest thing that I ever got was because someone ordered a drone after clicking on my link. Thank you, person who ordered a drone. But that's a really easy option I see a lot of people do, especially in the booktube community as well. Lots of tech people do that, and I think that makes them significantly more money. If everyone's buying drones clicking on your link, that's a lot of money. Then there's things like Patreon. We're seeing even traditionally published authors like Laini Taylor start Patreons, which I think is so cool. I am a longtime user of Patreon on like the consumer, the donor end kind of thing. And I greatly enjoy the flexibility and being able to give money that way and also receive money that way. It's really easy. So at the start of the year, January 2020, I had 227 patrons. The end of the year, December 2020, I had 565 patrons. I personally have my tier set up so that there's only one tier. It's only $1 a month. That's not technically how Patreon is supposed to work, as I quickly realized the problem with that, which is that it was very nice. Some people were giving more than the $1 a month, which is absolutely sweet. And when I decided to add a Discord to my Patreon and add a writing server to do sprints and all sorts of other stuff, anyone who had more than the $1 amount filled in was not automatically connected. So I came up with a workaround that I'd seen some other people do, where you basically note that it's only one tier, but people can give whatever amount they want. So I just kind of looked through my own amounts and saw what people were giving extra and then made that a tier so that anyone who joins next time will be automatically connected and won't have to go through that. So I had 565 patrons in December, and the pledges processed from Patreon was about $700. So quite a few people were giving over the $1 amount. Though once you process all the fees and stuff, it almost evens out. So 565 patrons. Bless you. So the 565 patrons was about that much money in revenue that I got to see. I've also had the Patreon since April 2019, and I would say it's been kind of like a steady growth over that time, with the biggest boost kind of coming August, September time, when I announced to everyone that I'd officially added the Discord server as one of the benefits. This is also the most regular income, the most steady, and I think that's why even trad pub authors like Laini Taylor are turning towards it. So you have a more direct contact with, you know, the people who want to support you, which is phenomenal. But also it's really nice to like know that you have that much money kind of coming in. And now we can talk about sponsorship. So I actually took, we're gonna say 2 that paid me money. And though I cannot talk about specific numbers, that is something that I signed, I can say that I made about 1/10 of the amount of my YouTube income with those sponsorships. Now, if you look about the amount of time spent to do those, because all of the ones that I take are more or less videos I was going to make anyways. It's not like an additional video that I wasn't going to do kind of thing. That's really only like not a lot of time spent to get that money in comparison with like the amount of time for the overall video, or the amount of time to build up the Patreon, or the amount of time a live stream takes potentially, or whatever else. But also I didn't start getting any kind of offers like that, or any that I thought were worthwhile. I've gotten some bad offers from like freaking Fit Tees, and I'm like, do you know what my channel is? So it took me like 4 years and 30,000 subscribers to get anything legitimate. I know a lot of people, even within authortube, who have gotten, you know, opportunities like that at a much lower threshold. So it all just depends. So if you're not counting all the time spent it took to like grow the channel to a certain amount, the amount of time spent to actually do the sponsorship is certainly the most bang for your buck kind of thing. Is that, can you use that phrase there? It's worth noting that similar to like where you sell your books on certain marketplaces, you don't get any of the revenue until like often a month and a half later or a month later from these different sources. So you kind of have to track your income. That's actually another reason that Patreon can be helpful, because you could either choose to charge upfront or at the end of the month or whatever, but then you can get that money as soon as the fees are processed, usually like 3 days later. I've gotten a lot of questions on the viability of doing this sort of thing. I think it depends on what you want to do. I have talked with friends where, you know, the time they were spending on their YouTube channel, even though they were making money, and even though it might have been more money than they were currently making on their books, they wanted to be authors, not people who talk about writing. And that's certainly something to consider. If your dream is to be an author, you know, potentially your best bet is to just write the books. But YouTube and publishing are very much the same way in that you can't guarantee that it's going to be hit, that you're going to get paid money for this thing, or that you're going to get paid much money for this thing. So in those ways, it feels very comparable to me, and I'm someone who likes having an amalgamation of ways I can make money for those times when I'm not capable of writing the book, or not capable of making the YouTube video, or not capable of doing X or Y or Z, or even when, you know, I'm just more interested or pulled in this direction, and that's totally okay. I think it just depends on your personality and what you want to do. Yeah, I did mention before that, of course, a big YouTube number can look super impressive, and depending on the opportunities provided, that's a more visible indicator sometimes than how many books you've sold, especially if you're wide, like you're not just selling on Amazon. So I think some opportunities are given to YouTubers that, you know, aren't necessarily earned compared to anything else, but because they are more visible, it's just like getting the sponsorships, right? It's all about eyes, and that's a factor to consider as well. I know Alexa Dunn has a really good video on if her YouTube channel has helped to sell her fiction books, so I will also leave that down below, as well as Claudia from Spencer's Library down below, that inspired this entire video. But that is going to be it for me. It was very meandering and winding, but I hope it was comprehensible. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you especially to some of my new patrons this month: Monica Corwin, Kure Shonen, Jake Arlo, and Cindaberry, and Leek Alexandra, and I'll see you all very soon in the new video. Bye! Zelda, shh. No. I already put that.